crisis
a
communication.
lot of people are even confused as to how that translates to sales. How does that make you?
So that's on the one. That's another argument,
angle.
you know, which sometimes it does translate to sales. You know, I mean, I've tried it. You've seen it work. You know, but what happens when you have a crisis? Those people can't do crisis communication for you. You need proper strategy, because sometimes some crises require you to just keep quiet and not say anything. You know, so it is not just about the platform. It's not just about the tools. What I like to tell people all the time, you know, we recently ran the campaign for the current president.
Yeah, I was going to go into that, actually.
Yeah, you know, and the biggest, you know, but one of the biggest lessons I always share with people, you know, from that campaign was that, you know, it isn't about the tool. Tools will always be available in communication. There will always be new tools. There was a time, newspaper, radio, television. Now, there's social media, you know, so there are blogs, there are all of the Twitter, Instagram, and all of those platforms. But you see, those platforms will keep evolving, and there will keep being more and more and more platforms. What happens is, what do you do with those platforms? How do you communicate with those platforms?
And even must you use those platforms?
But sometimes you don't even need to use those platforms to communicate certain things.
I don't know, Debola, you might need to help me out. I mean, I was chatting with my wife, and the issue of Periscope came up, which is probably like the latest fan, right? And Periscope is basically live feed. I mean, if I put my phone on now, anybody from anywhere in the world will see that. I'm still getting used to Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, and I'm scared as to 10 years from now, which is rightly what you said. It's not just about the tools, about what you use it for. Does one need to actually utilize all these tools? Are there some days you'll be like, you know what, I don't have to be on this, and are you losing out by not being on those platforms?
It depends on what you want to use it for. So, for example, I'm not on Twitter randomly. I'm on Twitter for work, like people know. I don't go on Twitter and tweet my breakfast or my lunch. You know, I tweet, you know, when I have work to do. So it depends on how you've chosen the platform. I use my Instagram more often, you know, but many times I'm also communicating work. But sometimes I'm doing it in a subtle way. So you might think I'm just.
What about those that don't actually? I mean, for every tool, there are those that abuse it. What's your take on that? Should there be some kind of sanction, or should there? How do you become a gatekeeper as to because some of these things are being used for negatives?
Well, so there will always be negatives. I mean, you know, and especially the internet. The internet is that place where there was a time I said to people that Twitter, you know, is that place where anybody who is rude, you know, at home and doesn't have other ones to abuse comes on Twitter to look for other people to abuse. You know, so the freedom of the internet, and which is why there's always a price for freedom, my brother. There's always been, you know, from time, you know, and time, there's always been the price of freedom. So the fact that the internet is free and anybody can wake up under any identity, which is why you have the trolls who go on the blogs. There was a time where that was a big deal, where people would go on blogs and expose and destroy people's marriages, you know, under anonymous comments and say, well, she slept with, you know, all of those, you know, sexual communication. So, you know, the internet will always have that problem. Instagram, for example, I know they take up pictures that you know, that promote nudity. You know, so the platforms will try their best, you know, but again, it's for you. How do you want to use that platform? My friend was saying the other day, she thinks Snapchat is demonic. That where does the video go after the 4 hours? So she's not going to go on Snapchat, you know. So and then another thing is that, you know, all of these things monitor your lives. There's a theory, you know, which my friends came up with in America, and they said, you know what, this is that whenever you eventually get into trouble with America, they want to use all these social media platforms to be able to know where you've been, what you've done. Because take, for example,
it's tracking, it's really tracking it. But let me, I mean, we could go all day. I want to get into the crunch of the summit. The website again is www.theredsummit.org.
Exactly.
We won't have enough time to go through everything, but I want to talk about the audience that you're looking for. Someone is watching us right now, probably wants to do a certain thing in communication, either radio, TV. Is it open for all? Can anybody just pick it up and start charting their career? Or is it something that needs to be very specific? If you're coming into this business, it's business. It's not just play. Who are you looking for at the summit? Who are the type of people you're looking for?
People interested in communication. So we're first going to be having, you know, bloggers, communication professionals from advertising agencies, communication professionals from different companies, you know, in the media department, in the communication department, students who have just graduated from the mass communication department, you know, PR entrepreneurs, you know, young people. There's so many people now who do PR, You know,
yeah,
people,
you know, yeah. The definition of PR is something I actually want to look into.
So the problem with that, you know, is pop culture. Pop culture is what has made PR look bastardized because people are focused on the quick, short, sharp, and simple. And you must understand that Nigeria's population at the moment is 70% young people. And who are the guys you communicate with pop culture? If pop culture is for this 70%, then every young person feels as if they can communicate to another young person. So that's where the problem has come from. So now these guys need to come to this summit to learn the rudiments, to listen to Bionic Shobanjo. You know, tell them how he's built this business for 40 years and how they can then take the message and want to build their own for 40 years. To come and listen to Sim Shagai of Jumia, you know, tell them why the billions are not coming to Africa for media and technology. To come and listen to the power of data, you know, and why data is important and how you can create data for your platforms and for your clients. To come and listen to how, you know, the elections, you know, the last elections was driven by the media.
Yeah, you did. I mean, you personally even used. I mean, I followed you on Instagram, and it was a very bold move there. But I never got a chance to say this, and I'm saying this. I mean, it was very bold and courageous as to how you took a stand. Some of the opinion that it was extremely risky because if it didn't fall through, it would have been a major negative. I even talked to some of our friends on the other side of the camp who have been able to learn their lessons. But with all said and done, I mean, my producer is in my ear. We won't have time to touch on that, but we'll talk about that more at the summit. Finally, I just want to touch on the theme of the town hall meeting, grooming, mentoring, and inspiring the next generation interested in media industry. You touched on that already. But do you think we have what it takes to take media in Africa as this generation with the discipline that it entails, with the consistency it entails? Can we do better than those before us?
So that's what you said now, the discipline that it entails. You know, I constantly, whenever I have a chance to talk to my peers or to those before, you know, behind me or ahead of me, you know, it's the discipline and the commitment. We cannot be carried away by 15 seconds. Because 15 seconds is not enough for a foundation. Facebook took years. This Instagram took years. Do you understand? So the problem with the generation is that we are focusing too much on the surface. And so for us to be able to build media platforms that last, to be able to build PR agencies that last, to be able to do Instagram and do our own Facebook, not a copycat, but something that come and revolutionize the industry. Sure. We need to begin to understand that time to sow, to plant, to nurture, you know, and to wait, and therefore it to grow and we harvest. Thank you very much, Debola Williams, to you and your team. Don't forget, it's the Red Summit. It's happening at Harbour Point, Victoria in Lagos, October 15th to the 18th, 2015. Do feel free to visit the website. That's www.theredmediasummit.org to find out more. We'll be back on the final lap, and this time, on a lighter note, we have a rapper of some sort. Very unique, very versatile, and she's very great fun. Stick around on Rubbing Mind.